ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Hello students, now let us continue our discussion with the respiration. We are in the discussion about aerobic respiration. Altogether, aerobic respiration has the 4 important stages. So, we completed what is called as glycolysis. We have done glycolysis and we have done link reaction. For the last class even we completed what is called as Krebs cycle. Now, if you look at the energy point of view, what are the energy produced up to here? Glycolysis altogether we have, there is 2 ATP, net gain is 2 ATP and 2 molecules of NADPH2. Out of 4 ATP, 2 are consumed, 2 are left. And in link reaction there is a production of 2 NADPH2. Right. So far what we have discussed, energetics I am discussing with you. Now coming to Krebs cycle. Now if you take in case of Krebs cycle, what is the thing we have discussed? Altogether in substrate level phosphorylation, there is a production of 2 molecules of ATP. So that is very important. Where to where? Succinyl-CoA to succinic acid, there is a synthesis of 2 molecules of ATP. So we take succinyl-CoA to succinic acid. How many molecules of ATP? 2 molecules of ATP. Now along with that, even we take into consideration of 6 molecules of NADPH2 and 2 molecules of FADPH2 are synthesized at the time of Krebs cycle. Right? So altogether if you look at the 2 molecules of ATP coming from where? Succinyl-CoA to succinic acid, that is substrate level phosphorylation number 3. Substrate level phosphorylation number 3, where there is a synthesis of 2 molecules of ATP. Then we have, that is conversion from succinyl-CoA to succinic acid, 2 molecules of ATP is produced. Then 6 NADPH2 is produced. So you know that we take here, in this case each NADPH2 contributes for 3 ATP. So this is very important. Each NADPH2 produces 3 molecules of A3P. So how many molecules of NADPH2 altogether? 6 molecules of NADPH2 are produced. So here 6 into 3 ATP, altogether it becomes 18 ATP. So there is a production of 18 ATP get produced from 6 NADPH2. Why? Because as I told you here, each NADPH2 produces 3 ATP. Why we are taking the 3 ATP? Why we are taking the 3 ATP? Because Krebs cycle happens in mitochondrial matrix. Where does it happens? It happens in mitochondrial matrix. That is why each NADPH2 produces 3 molecules of ATP. And there is an FADPH2. FADPH2 here, each FADPH2 produces 2 molecules of ATP. 2 molecules of ATP produced from FADPH2. So here we say 2 into 2 ATP, altogether it becomes 4 ATP. So here 4 molecules of ATP is coming from 2 FADPH2. I repeat again, listen carefully, calculations are very important. 4 ATP is produced from 2 FADPH2, 18 ATP is produced from 6 NADPH2 and 2 ATP is generated to substrate level phosphorylation 3 at the time of Krebs cycle. So altogether total amount of energy, total number of ATPs produced during Krebs cycle. Total number of ATPs produced during Krebs cycle will be approximately 24 ATP. Very important. So 18 plus 2 20 plus 4 24. That means maximum energy or highest number of ATPs or more energy generated at the time of Krebs cycle. Sometimes you will get the question, more energy is generated in which pathway of aerobic respiration in case of Krebs cycle. In Krebs cycle, highest number of ATPs are produced or more energy is produced at the time of Krebs cycle. In remaining all, little less energy, because oxidation of food stepwise slowly it releases energy in the form of ATP, but more energy is released at the time of Krebs cycle. That's why Krebs cycle, energetic point of view, it is very important. Krebs cycle is also called as citric acid cycle, also called as organic acid cycle, because altogether total amount of energy produced from Krebs cycle is 24 ATP. That's why it's very important. So what is the next one? We have to continue our discussion with ETS. What is ETS? Electron transport system. So after once the Krebs cycle is well practiced on the paper, now even we have to continue and practice the next one, very important one. That's nothing but what? ETS, electron transport system. Let us continue with that. Electron transport system. Or itself is also called electron transport chain, or itself is also called as oxidative phosphorylation. Itself is also called oxidative phosphorylation, or itself is also called respiratory chain system. Respiratory chain system. Okay, so here electron transport system itself is also called electron transport chain, itself is called oxidative phosphorylation, itself is referred as respiratory chain system. We have different terminologies to refer the process called electron transport system. Now let us study this very carefully. So here if you take, this is nothing but mitochondria, where it occurs means mitochondria. This is called as, let us take even this is a compartment, right. So this is inner mitochondrial space, this is called inner mitochondrial membrane. So here what is IMS? IMS says that intermitochondrial space or perimitochondrial space, better I am writing it here, intermitochondrial space, or also called as perimitochondrial space. Perimitochondrial space. Now what do you call this? IMM. IMM means inner mitochondrial membrane. What is IMM? Inner mitochondrial membrane. Beneath that what do we find? Here what you find is nothing but matrix. What you find? Mitochondrial matrix. Below that we find a mitochondrial matrix. Okay, I hope you got the clarity here, right? So it should be visible. Yeah. So here if you look at electron transport system, now where it is happening? This is happening in where? Mitochondria. So this is what is mitochondria. This is an outer membrane. And what is this? This is inner membrane, right? And inside what you find? This is cristae. And here what you find? This is called matrix. Now where is our process is happening? This is, we all know very well, this is nothing but structure of mitochondria. Now what did I said here? This is inner mitochondrial space or intermitochondrial space. This is IMS, or itself is called perimitochondrial space. So this compartment, this zone itself is repeated like this. It is referred like this. This space, what we are seeing in the diagram, itself is called as what? Intermitochondrial space, or itself is called perimitochondrial space. So this space we are drawing like this. What is the space? This is the space between, this is an outer membrane, this is an inner membrane. Between outer and inner membrane, what is present? IMS, inner mitochondrial space or intermitochondrial space or perimitochondrial space. Just inner to this what you find? This you find. This is a zone. This is a zone. This is a zone what we call inner mitochondrial membrane. This zone, the black colored one what I am drawing here, this is called IMM. What is this IMM? IMM meaning inner mitochondrial membrane. Inner mitochondrial membrane. So this black colored one what I am showing here, I am drawing like this. This is inner mitochondrial membrane. And below this what you find? This is called mitochondrial matrix. So the below this, the space what you find, it's called mitochondrial matrix. So this space I am drawing like this. IMS, IMM, inner mitochondrial membrane, mitochondrial matrix. I hope this structure is clear, right? Now let us continue our discussion with electron transport system. Now in this electron transport system, so in ETS, in electron transport system, altogether there are 5 enzymatic complexes are involved. It includes 5 enzyme complexes. So they are nothing but what? Let us take the 5 enzymatic complexes. Complex number 1, complex number 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we have all 5 complexes. Okay, electron transport system includes how many enzyme complexes? It includes 5 enzymatic complexes. What are they? Complex number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if you look at the first one, the complex number 1, it's called as NADH dehydrogenase. It's called NADH dehydrogenase. Complex number 2 itself is called as succinic dehydrogenase, or also called as FADH dehydrogenase. First one is called complex number 1, the first enzyme is NADH dehydrogenase. Complex number 2, the second enzyme involved here is succinic dehydrogenase, or itself is called FADH dehydrogenase. Now complex number 3, it includes cytochrome A3 complex, or itself is also called cytochrome C reductase. Very important to remember all these names. Names of the enzymes are very important. Okay, what is complex number 3? Cytochrome A1 A3 complex, either A3 complex or itself is called cytochrome C reductase. Reductase, don't confuse. Next one will be oxidase. The names are very important for you all to remember. Next one is cytochrome B6, cytochrome B6 complex or itself is called as cytochrome C oxidase. Okay, cytochrome A3 complex. Next one is cytochrome B6 complex, itself is also called as cytochrome C oxidase. And the last one is, it's called ATP synthetase or itself is called as F0 F1 synthetase. Last enzyme it's called ATP synthetase or itself is called F0 F1 synthetase. Now if you look at, very important, remembering all 5 enzyme complexes is very important. Here NADH dehydrogenase, succinic dehydrogenase or FADH dehydrogenase. Complex number 3, cytochrome A3 complex or cytochrome C reductase. Fourth complex, cytochrome B6 complex or itself is called cytochrome C oxidase. And fifth one is cytochrome synthetase or F0 F1 synthetase. In some books, complex number 3 will be given as cytochrome B6 complex. Complex number 4 is given as cytochrome A3 complex. Now, in either of these sequences, no problem. Why? Because one act as reductase, other act as a oxidase. So, sometimes they will place this for complex number 3 and this for complex number 4, no problem. But try to remember, the complex number 3 act as reductase, complex number 4 act as oxidase. So, these two things in the sequence you have to remember. Reductase followed by oxidase. Either you can write this for this or this for this, because 3 and 4 are variable, because both will nothing but carriers of cytochrome. Next is ATP synthetase, F0 F1 synthetase. Out of the 5 enzymatic complexes, the 4 enzymatic complex, 4 enzyme complexes, 4 enzyme complexes involved in transfer of electrons. 4 enzymatic complexes are involved in transfer of electrons, and the last enzyme complex means complex number 5 involved in transfer of protons. Transfer of protons. Very important. The first 4 are involved in transfer of electrons, NADH, succinic, cytochrome, oxidase and reductase. All first 4 involved in transfer of electrons, whereas last one is involved in transportation of protons. So, this is important to remember. First 4 involved in transfer of electrons and last enzyme involved in transport of protons. Along with these 5 enzymatic complexes, it also includes, electron transport system includes 2 mobile carriers. It includes 2 mobile carriers. That means electron transport system, it includes 5 enzyme complexes and 2 mobile carriers. What are those mobile carriers? The mobile carriers are, one is ubiquinone and other one is cytochrome C. Other one is cytochrome C. So, there are 2 mobile carriers. Mobile carriers means they transfer the electrons between enzymatic complexes. These mobile carriers, they transfer electrons between these enzymatic complexes. How many are involved? two mobile carriers are involved. What are they? Ubiquinone and cytochrome C. What do they do here? They act as carriers of electrons between enzymatic complexes. I hope now this part is very clear. Now total story, we are going to speak about the role of 5 enzymatic complexes and the 2 mobile carriers. The 5 enzymes, out of this 5 enzyme complexes, first 4 enzyme complexes involved in transfer of electrons and the last enzyme complex involved in transportation of protons. Along with these 5 enzymatic complexes, 2 mobile carriers are there. One is ubiquinone, other one is cytochrome C. They transfer electrons between enzymatic complexes, and remember all 5 enzymatic complexes. Now let us begin this electron transport system. Where it is taking place means in mitochondria. So here this is called inner mitochondrial space or perimitochondrial space. This is an outer membrane, this is an inner membrane, this is totally inner membrane, and here this is nothing but mitochondrial matrix. Now where the reaction is happening? It's taking place in inner mitochondrial membrane. Where this is happening, the total process, inner mitochondrial membrane. This is very, very, very important. Let us continue our discussion. Right. So here if you look at, in this case inner mitochondrial membrane is very, very important. Now what is the first one? Here you find the first one will be like this. This is complex number 1. What is the first enzyme we are drawing? The first one I am drawing is complex number 1. Let me draw this side. I hope this is clear. Where this complex number 1 is present, IMM. What is IMM? Inner mitochondrial membrane. From here to here it is inner membrane, and here this is mitochondrial space. This is clear, I think, right? So I will just erase it because I need more space to draw. We need to fit all 5 enzymes. So let me draw this side to the last corner, the first enzyme. So this is IMM and this is mitochondrial matrix. Right. So I am drawing the first enzyme here. This is complex number 1. What is this complex number 1? This is called NADH, NADPH dehydrogenase. The first enzyme, NADPH dehydrogenase. Now this enzyme, it will bring, what happens in this case? It will bring here, it converts NADPH2 into 2 molecules of NADPH2 into 2 NAD plus. So at the time when it is converting to NADPH2, the NADPH2 coming from where? NADPH2 is coming from Krebs cycle. So and from the Krebs cycle, NADPH2 enters into complex number 1, that is NADPH dehydrogenase. It is present in inner mitochondrial membrane where it get reduced to NADPH2 into 2 NAD plus. As a result of this, it produces 4 protons into inner mitochondrial space. It produces how many protons? Here 2 NADPH2 molecules. So 2 into 2, altogether 4. Okay, here 2 into 2, 2 NADPH2 molecules, 2 into 2. So altogether it releases 4 protons into this, and here it is made up of FMN and also it is made up of iron sulfur protein. So complex number 1, here I am writing, it is made up of, complex number 1, it is made up of, what is FMN? So we can write flavononucleotide. right? And what is iron sulfur protein? It's made up of iron sulfur protein. Okay, so complex number 1 is NADPH dehydrogenase. It's made up of the two component FMN, that is flavomononucleotide, iron sulfur protein. So what it will do, by reducing it will take the electrons, when it absorbs the electron, it undergoes oxidation. Now it takes the electrons and it by from conversion from NADPH to NAD plus, it takes the electrons but releases the protons into space. As it takes the electron, the complex number 1 takes the electron, it is undergoing what is called oxidation. Then it transfers its electron to ubiquinone. It transfers its electron to ubiquinone. Absorption of electrons is called oxidation. When it loses its electron, it is undergoing reduction. It is undergoing reduction. Let me get the red marker. So here what's happening here is, who is moving? Electron is moving out, and simultaneously there is a formation of 4 protons are produced into this, right? And it is sent its electron to whom? It was sent its electron to ubiquinone. It was sent its electron to ubiquinone. Now meanwhile there is complex number 2, or you can draw like this, no problem. You can draw like this. Okay, this is complex number 2. This is complex number 2. Now this complex number 2, somewhat you make some shape, you can draw, no problem. This is complex number 2. Right. Now here, what is this complex number 2? Complex number 2, it's called succinic dehydrogenase, or itself is called FADPH2 dehydrogenase. This is nothing but name of the complex number 2. Now this complex number 2, it's made up of FAD and also it's made up of iron sulfur protein. So this is made up of complex number 2, it's made up of FAD. What is FAD? Flavin adenine dinucleotide. Nothing but what? They are nothing but prosthetic group. For this enzyme, this acts as a prosthetic group, FAD. We discussed in enzymes, cofactors, prosthetic groups and what you call coenzymes, right? So for this particular enzyme, FAD acts as a prosthetic group, and along with that it is made up of even iron sulfur protein. So this enzyme is made up of these two components, right? And if you look at, so succinic dehydrogenase will bring FADPH2. Now 2 molecules of FADPH2 which are found here converted into 2 FAD plus. From here electrons are accepted by the complex number 2, undergo oxidation, and simultaneously here it transfers its electron to ubiquinone. So it undergoing what? Reduction. So electrons are moving from where to where? Complex number 1 to ubiquinone, and the protons which are coming from FAD also moves to ubiquinone. Now what happens here? Ubiquinone, it takes the electron coming from both complex number 1 and complex number 2, and electrons will come to ubiquinone. Then what is this ubiquinone here? Ubiquinone, what you find here? This ubiquinone, it acts as ubiquinone, what you find here? Now ubiquinone, it acts as a mobile electron carrier. Here it is written as mobile carrier. It acts as a mobile carrier. Mobile carrier between what and what? It carries electrons. It carries electrons between complex number 1 and 3 and also between complex number 2 and 3. So here ubiquinone, it acts as a mobile carrier. Mobile carrier means it carries electrons between complex number 1 and 3 and also carries electrons between complex number 2 and 3. Where it is present means it is present in inner mitochondrial membrane, right. So what it will do? It takes the electrons coming from complex number 2 and transfer its electrons to complex number 3. This is complex number 3. So this is called complex number 3. So what complex number 3 here? Complex number 3 is cytochrome B6 or cytochrome AA13. Okay, so I think if you can copy this, I will erase this, or otherwise I will write down. So this is complex number 3. What is this complex number 3? It is called cytochrome C reductase. It is called cytochrome C reductase. Now it is made up of two components, that is cytochrome A1 and cytochrome A3. So it is made up of two carriers, cytochrome A1 and cytochrome A3. So here you find this is cytochrome A1 and here you find cytochrome A3. In between you find iron sulfur protein. So this is how it will be. Okay, so here even it is also made up of what? Iron sulfur protein. It is made up of the electron carriers cytochrome A1 and A3 and also it is made up of iron sulfur protein. So what it will do here? It takes the electrons which are coming from here also contain how many protons? It contains 4 protons. 4 protons will be coming, and coming to this complex number 3, the protons which are coming from complex number 2 along with electrons will be discharged into space, mitochondrial space. Okay, so 4 protons are released from complex number 1. Complex number 2, what they entered into complex number 3, the 2 electrons can transfer the 4 protons into a perimitochondrial space or inner mitochondrial space. Why? Because all of you know it very well, 1 electron carries 2 protons. So when there is a transfer of 2 protons or 2 electrons are there, automatically there is a transfer of 4 protons. So 1 electron transfers 2 protons and 2 electrons transfer altogether 4 protons. So the 4 protons will be released into inner mitochondrial space from complex number 3. Complex number 3, it receives electrons from ubiquinone. Receiving electron, it undergoes oxidation. By losing electron, ubiquinone will get reduction. Now this ubiquinone, it get converted into ubiquinol. It get converted into ubiquinol. So it undergoes quinone cycle, like in photophosphorylation in photosynthesis, it is called quinone cycle, ubiquinone we call. Like that here, ubiquinone it get reduced into semi-ubiquinol and again comes back. So it undergoes what is called as quinone cycle, like as we discussed in case of photosynthesis at the time of non-cyclic electron transport system. What exactly you discussed ubiquinone over there, same like this here also it undergoes a quinone cycle. From there electron enters into cytochrome A1, from there enters into iron sulfur complex, from there enters into cytochrome A3, or you can write cytochrome B6. right? Then from here, so here ubiquinone is transferring electron between what and what? Ubiquinone transfers its electron from complex number 1 to complex number 3 and also from complex number 2 and 3, very very important. So ubiquinone acts as electron carrier between 1 and 3 and also complex number 2 and 3, and where it is present means it is present in inner mitochondrial membrane. Now from here the electron enters into next complex number 4. So this I am drawing like this, complex number 4. I will just erase the matter what I have written here. So here next it enters into complex number 4. So here it is like this, complex number 4. So this I am writing complex number 4. So what is complex number 4? Complex number 4 is nothing but cytochrome C oxidase. Cytochrome C oxidase, very very important here. Now if you look at it, contains 2 copper centers and cytochrome B B6. So this acts as a electron carrier. So it contains 2 copper centers along with iron sulfur protein. So 2 copper centers which are present here, it's very very important. So it contains 2 copper centers like this, and it also contains cytochrome B6, very very important. So here when it enters into complex number 4 here, so here the electron will get enter here. Now it also has 4 protons here which are coming, but the here before we take about the 4 protons which are coming here, we need to take that NADPH2 coming from glycolysis. Here I am writing simultaneously, I will write up because it cannot enter inside. NADPH2, it all comes from glycolysis. Now here it cannot enter directly, but later it enters and transfers its protons here. It also contributes for 4 protons here, and that 4 protons will be coming to complex number 4 here. Out of the 4 protons here, the protons which are coming, 2 protons are released and 2 protons are consumed by, out of the 4 protons, 2 protons are consumed by oxygen. So half molecule of oxygen, one second, I have to write exactly down to this because I need more space for complex number 5. So here half molecule of oxygen takes the 2 protons and produces a water molecule. So complex number 5 produces water molecule. Sorry, complex number 4 produces a water molecule. Now in this the oxygen plays a vital role. Here oxygen acts as a final proton acceptor. So I am talking about here oxygen. So I am writing about oxygen. Oxygen acts as final proton acceptor. Final proton acceptor or terminal proton acceptor. Who is the final proton acceptor? Who is the final proton, terminal proton acceptor? Terminal proton acceptor means, always remember, that is oxygen. Where the oxygen is coming to the picture? With the complex number 4, where oxygen takes the 2 protons coming from here and the 2 protons are utilized in the formation of water. That means there is complex number 4 is associated with formation of water. There is a production of water. Where this happens with complex number 4. Why? Because oxygen acts as a terminal proton acceptor which takes the 2 protons and 2 protons are released out. As a result, there is a production of water. So in this case, oxygen acts as a final proton acceptor that is associated with complex number 4. Complex number 4 is cytochrome C oxidase. Very important point is it contains 2 copper centers and also electron carrier called cytochrome B6. So it is present with cytochrome B6.
ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.